Have you ever felt like you're drowning in the chaos of life? Constantly trying to control every little detail, pushing yourself to be perfect, thinking you have to be everything to everyone? It's a never-ending cycle that leaves us overwhelmed, exhausted, and ultimately unfulfilled. But here's the kicker. What if the solution isn't pushing harder, trying more, or trying to control everything around us? What if it's about letting go? Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? The idea of caring less seems almost reckless. Yet, in a world where stress is a constant companion, maybe this is exactly the kind of relief we've been searching for. It's called detachment, and it's not about being indifferent or detached from life entirely. It's about freeing yourself from the unnecessary weight of trying to control things you can't, so you can focus your energy where it really matters. Imagine this. Instead of stressing about the outcome of every situation, you choose to give your best effort without being attached to what comes next. This shift in mindset can be revolutionary. It's not about being apathetic. It's about taking a step back to allow life to unfold as it does, knowing you can handle whatever comes your way, without the weight of constant pressure. What I've learned through my own journey with Stoicism and personal growth is that the more we try to control, the more we risk losing control. By gripping life too tightly, we only create more resistance. But by letting go, by embracing detachment, we actually find freedom. It's like the moment you stop chasing something, it starts to come to you on its own. Whether it's success, peace, or even relationships, things flow more effortlessly when you stop desperately grasping for them. The trick isn't to stop caring altogether. It's to care about the right things, the things you have power over, and to release everything else. Think of it as creating space for better things to enter your life. It's about trusting the process and yourself. You stop worrying about every single decision, and instead, you allow room for the unexpected, the unpredictable, the beautiful chaos of life. Imagine having the courage to let go of that grip on perfection and simply live. It's a life filled with ease, confidence, and freedom from the constant noise that keeps us from finding true success. So, how do we make this shift in our daily lives? How do we stop being slaves to the pressure and start embracing the art of detachment? In this video, we'll explore exactly that. How letting go can not only ease your mind but can also open the door to real success. Let's dive deep into this paradox and see how you can make it work for you today. Overcaring distorts our reality. We constantly find ourselves caught in a web of expectations, both external and self-imposed, pushing us into a vicious cycle of striving for approval that never seems to end. The more we care, the tighter the grip becomes, until it feels like we're running on a treadmill, exhausted but never reaching our destination. We begin to see ourselves through the lens of what others might think, constantly asking ourselves, "Am I good enough? What will they think of this?" And it's draining. Why do we care so much? The pressure to meet others' expectations and to be the perfect version of ourselves is something most of us face. We think we have to be better, do better, and show the world that we are worthy. But the truth is, This only leads to dissatisfaction. We lose sight of what really matters, which is not perfection or validation, but authenticity and peace. The constant need to impress creates a facade that blocks our true selves from emerging. And in the process, we forget that real success is about inner peace, not external recognition, letting go of the need for validation. This is where true freedom lies. Detachment isn't about becoming cold or indifferent to the world around you. It's not about turning off your emotions or relationships. On the contrary, detachment allows you to deepen your relationships, to engage in life more fully, because you are no longer performing for anyone. When you stop striving for approval, when you let go of trying to please others, you allow yourself to step into your own power. You no longer live for someone else's approval. You live for your own truth. Detachment frees you from the emotional prison of needing everyone to like you, to think you're perfect, to validate your worth. Instead, it places the power back into your own hands. You become free to be your real self without the fear of judgment or failure. And here's the paradox. The more you let go of that desire to control everything, the more everything begins to fall into place. The people who truly belong in your life will gravitate towards you because they are drawn to your authenticity, not the version of you that you've been trying so hard to sell. I've seen it happen in my own life. The more I stopped caring about impressing others, the more I found myself in situations that felt right. The relationships I formed were more genuine because I wasn't trying to be someone I wasn't. I started saying no when something didn't resonate with me, and yes to things that aligned with my core values. And it's been liberating. There's a new sense of clarity and direction that comes when you no longer live for external validation. It's as if the fog lifts, and you can finally see the road ahead clearly. This shift in perspective isn't an overnight change, it's a process. The hustle and grind of daily life often make it hard to detach. We are conditioned to strive, to chase after success, to be more, do more. But here's the truth. Success, real success, doesn't come from constant effort or trying to outdo others. It comes from being at peace with who you are and where you are in life. It comes from knowing that you are enough, just as you are, without having to prove anything to anyone. Think about the people you admire most. Do they care deeply about what others think of them? Probably not. They are unapologetically themselves, living their lives by their own rules. They focus on what makes them happy, not what others expect of them. This level of self-assurance comes from releasing the need for constant approval. These people have mastered the art of detachment, and that is what makes them so magnetic. Their success isn't a product of chasing validation, it's a product of living authentically, without compromise. I know it's not easy. In a world that constantly tells us we need to do more, and be better, it can feel almost rebellious to stop caring about the opinions of others. But that's exactly the point. When you release the need for external validation, you create space for something deeper, something more meaningful, and that's when the magic happens. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means freeing yourself from the things that drain your energy and focusing on what truly brings you joy and fulfillment. It's about trusting that your worth doesn't come from the outside world. The more you let go, the more you open up to the flow of life. You begin to realize that the world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real. This is where success, happiness, and inner peace start to align. When you stop chasing approval, you become a magnet for the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences. Success isn't measured by how many people applaud you or how many likes you get on social media. It's measured by how content you are with yourself, by how aligned you are with your values, and by how much peace you feel on the inside. So, ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped caring so much? What would happen if I let go of the constant pressure to impress others? The answer may surprise you. You'd probably feel lighter, freer, and more successful than you ever imagined. And the best part is, this success will be real. It will be your success, not a version of success that you've been told you should pursue. The more we care less about the opinions of others, the more we free ourselves to live authentically. So take a deep breath, let go of the weight you've been carrying, and allow yourself the freedom to just be. Because when you let go, life has a way of flowing more effortlessly, bringing you everything you truly need. The power of detachment isn't about detaching from life. It's about detaching from the need to control it. The more we grip onto life, trying to make things happen according to our rigid expectations, the more we create resistance. The truth is, the universe doesn't work on our timeline. When we let go of that desperate grip, we allow the flow of life to naturally guide us to where we need to be. We've all been there. You apply for a job, and the anxiety consumes you. Every little detail about the interview, the application, the follow-up emails, it all occupies your mind, and it gets to the point where your focus shifts from doing your best to worrying about every possible outcome. And guess what? The harder you try, the further the opportunity slips away. You are too focused on the result, not on the process, and that's where the frustration begins. But then, something unexpected happens. When you finally stop obsessing, when you let go of your expectations and stop trying to control the outcome, that's when things click. You get the email, you land the interview, the job appears when you least expect it because you've stopped forcing it. This is the power of detachment, allowing things to unfold naturally, without the need to make every step, every decision, and every situation fit your preordained plan. Detachment means having faith that the right things will happen at the right time, even if it's not according to the timeline you've set for yourself. It means trusting the process and surrendering the need to control every little detail. Now, let's talk about relationships. This is a prime example where detachment is often misunderstood. People get stuck in the belief that if they just try hard enough, they can make any relationship work. They force it. They overthink every conversation. They try to control how the other person reacts or feels, thinking that if they do everything perfectly, the relationship will flourish. But here's the thing. Relationships cannot be forced. When we obsess over making something work, we create tension. We push people away instead of pulling them closer. But when we let go of the need to control the outcome of a relationship, something beautiful happens. We give space for authenticity and connection to thrive. The more we try to control the outcome, the more we block the natural flow of connection. The key is to let go of expectations and simply allow things to unfold. When we step back and stop forcing, the relationship can grow naturally. It's not about trying harder. It's about trusting that the right relationships will fall into place when the time is right. Think of it like a plant. If you're constantly hovering over it, forcing it to grow faster, you'll only end up stunting its growth. But when you step back, water it, give it sunlight, and allow nature to take its course, the plant will grow in its own time. The same principle applies to relationships in life. When you let go of the obsession with controlling the outcome, everything starts to fall into place. It's almost as if the universe takes over and delivers exactly what you need. But only when you stop fighting against it. And here's something I've personally learned over the years. The more we attach ourselves to specific outcomes, the more we resist what's actually meant for us. We spend so much time chasing after something we think we need. But in reality, we're missing out on something better, something more aligned with who we truly are. Detachment is not about being passive or indifferent. It's about surrendering to the flow of life. It's about allowing yourself the freedom to experience life as it is, without the constant pressure to force it into your narrow view of how things should be. I've seen it happen in my own life. When I let go of my attachment to certain goals, relationships, or outcomes, the most incredible opportunities and connections came into my life. Effortlessly, I stopped forcing things to happen and started to just be. The moment I stopped obsessing over the how and when, I found myself in places and situations I never could have planned. I learned that the magic of detachment lies in releasing the need for everything to go according to plan. When we let go, life has a way of surprising us in the most beautiful ways. But letting go isn't easy. It's something we have to practice, especially in a world that tells us to hustle, achieve, and control everything. We're conditioned to believe that if we don't push hard enough, we'll miss out, and that's a tough mindset to overcome. But the truth is, the harder you push, the more you create resistance. Life doesn't need you to force anything. The universe doesn't work on your timeline. It works in its own perfect timing. And all you have to do is trust that. Detachment isn't about becoming passive or giving up. It's about embracing life as it is. Trusting the journey, and knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. When you stop fighting against the flow of life, you align yourself with your true path, and that's when the magic happens. That's when everything starts to work out, not because you forced it, but because you allowed it to happen. So, the next time you find yourself stressing over a job, a relationship, or an outcome, ask yourself, what would happen if I let go? What would happen if I stopped trying to control everything and just trusted the process? The answer, I promise you, is that life will flow more easily, more naturally, and more beautifully than you ever imagined. The more you detach, the more you open yourself up to the unexpected wonders of life. Let go, and watch as everything you've been searching for comes to you, effortlessly. We all experience this at some point. The intense urge to hold on tightly to things we fear losing. It's an instinct, a reaction to the uncertainty of life. But ironically, the more we grip, the more we end up pushing those things away. It's like trying to keep sand in your hand. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. Yet, when you relax your grip and let the sand settle in the natural curve of your palm, it stays. The same principle applies to everything we try to control. The more we cling, the more it escapes us. The illusion of control is pervasive. Society tells us that success comes from dominating every situation, from micromanaging our careers, relationships, and even our own emotions. We believe that if we just try hard enough, if we just hold on tight, we can steer our lives in the direction we want. But life doesn't work that way. The harder we try to control every detail, the more resistance we create. The tighter we hold onto something, the more suffocating it becomes, both for us and for those around us. Take relationships, for instance. Think about times when you've been around someone who was constantly seeking reassurance. Maybe they over-texted, over-explained, or incessantly tried to prove their worth. At first, it might have seemed endearing, but soon enough, it became draining. You may have even found yourself pulling away, not because you didn't care, but because the constant need for validation was exhausting. It was as if their anxiety, their need to control the connection, was choking the very thing they were trying to protect. Contrast that with someone who exudes confidence, someone who doesn't constantly seek validation or reassurance. Their energy is calm, self-assured, and magnetic. They don't need to prove anything. They don't need to manipulate or force the relationship to grow. And paradoxically, this kind of energy is what draws people in. It's not desperate, it's free. The irony here is undeniable. The more you try to control, the more you suffocate. But when you let go, things flow naturally. It's not just about relationships. We do the same thing with our careers, our image, and even our goals. We obsess over the outcome, thinking that if we just push a little harder, things will fall into place. But the truth is, we are not the ones driving the ship. Life has its own current, and when we try to paddle against it, we waste energy and create resistance. The more we try to control, the further we move from our natural course. I've seen it in my own life. There were times when I was so fixated on certain goals, so desperate to prove my worth, that I ignored the natural flow of things. I overworked, overthought, and overanalyzed. The result, more stress, more frustration, and less fulfillment. I thought that by controlling every aspect of my journey, I could force success to happen. But it wasn't until I stepped back, relaxed my grip, and allowed things to unfold naturally that I began to see real progress. Opportunities began to show up unexpectedly. and I realized that success wasn't about control, it was about trust. Trust in the process, trust in my own abilities, and trust in the timing of life. Letting go of the need for control is not about becoming passive or detached from life. It's about learning to trust yourself in the process. It's about surrendering to the flow of life rather than forcing your way through it. When you stop obsessing over every detail, when you stop trying to micromanage every interaction, you make space for creativity, spontaneity, and authentic connection. You start living with ease rather than resistance. The irony of detachment is that the less we try to control, the more we gain control over the things that truly matter. It's not about letting go of responsibility. It's about letting go of the unnecessary pressure we place on ourselves to have everything figured out. When we stop trying to control the uncontrollable, we give ourselves permission to be human, to make mistakes, to learn, and to grow. This principle also extends to how we view ourselves. Many of us live our lives under the pressure of constantly trying to be something we're not, living up to external expectations, building an image that others will approve of, but in doing so, we lose touch with who we truly are. The more we try to fit into a mold, the more we distort our authentic selves. The paradox is, when we stop trying to please others and start being ourselves, that's when we become magnetic. That's when we attract the right people, opportunities, and success naturally. Think about someone you admire. What is it about them that draws you in? It's likely not their ability to control every situation, but their ability to be at ease with themselves. They don't strive for approval because they already know their worth. They are comfortable in their own skin, confident in who they are, and they don't need to control the narrative. Their success comes from being authentic, not from trying to fit into someone else's expectations. The power of detachment lies in realizing that control is an illusion. The more we try to control the uncontrollable, the more we push away what we desire. The more we cling to something, whether it's a job, a relationship, or an image, the more we suffocate it. The key is to relax your grip, trust in yourself, and allow life to unfold naturally. When you do, you'll find that everything begins to align in a way that feels effortless. You'll attract the right people, opportunities, and experiences, not because you tried to force them, but because you allowed them to come to you. Detachment is not about inaction. It's about action without attachment. It's about doing your best, setting your intentions, and then letting go of the need for a specific outcome. When you do this, you'll find that life becomes more fulfilling, more peaceful, and more aligned with your true desires. So, take a step back and ask yourself, what are you holding onto too tightly? What are you trying to control? Let go of the pressure. Trust in yourself, and allow life to flow with ease. When you do, you'll find that the things you've been striving for will come to you naturally, without the struggle, and in the process, you'll discover the freedom that comes from letting go of the illusion of control. The flow state is something we all can experience, not just the elite athletes or renowned artists we often think of. It transcends those high-level performers and taps into a fundamental human experience, the power of being present, of letting go. It's about surrendering the need to control every aspect of what we do and trusting the process, which, paradoxically, is when we produce our best work. Think about the times when you were most in tune with your creativity. The moments when you stop forcing things and simply let your instincts take over. Those are the moments when your best ideas surface, when you're in flow. This is a phenomenon I've witnessed repeatedly in my own life. The more I try to control every detail, the less I get done, and the more I struggle. When I shift my focus from controlling the process to just being in the moment, that's when the magic happens. I stop overthinking, stop overanalyzing, and simply let myself immerse in what I'm doing. Everything becomes easier, smoother, more intuitive. Creativity flows effortlessly because I stop fighting against it. Think about how often we're told that creativity is about hard work, about pushing ourselves, about constantly striving for that brilliant idea, that aha moment. We're taught that great things come from sheer force, that if we just push hard enough, we'll unlock our potential. But in reality, the most powerful bursts of creativity come when we stop trying so hard. It's like a dance. You can't control every step. You just need to follow the rhythm. Let your body move with the music. This is the essence of flow. It's when we stop thinking about how things are going to turn out and let go of the need for a specific outcome. When we're truly immersed in what we're doing, we're no longer distracted by the past or future. There's only the present moment, and it's in that space where creativity thrives. You don't have to force it. In fact, forcing it only blocks it. Creativity flourishes when you're aligned with the task at hand, when you trust the process, when you just show up and do the work, without worrying about how it will be received. One of the most powerful aspects of flow is that time seems to disappear. You might be working on something and suddenly realize that hours have passed by in what feels like minutes. You didn't even notice the time because you were so engrossed in what you were doing. That's flow. It's when you're so in tune with the task that you become one with it. The idea of trying to control the process goes away. In this state, creativity is allowed to blossom freely. Athletes often describe their best performances as moments when they are in the zone. A basketball player making a perfect shot without consciously thinking about the mechanics of the movement. A runner experiencing a rare moment when every stride flows effortlessly and they can push through exhaustion. In those moments, it's not about controlling every detail. It's about surrendering to the moment, trusting their training, and allowing their body to guide them. The same principle applies to creativity. Whether you're writing, painting, or crafting a business strategy, writers, for example, often find that their best work comes when they're not trying to force it. When they stop overthinking every sentence and simply let the words flow. That's when they tap into their deepest well of creativity. The key to this is trust. Trust in the process. Trust in your instincts. It's about letting go of the need to be perfect and embracing the flow of ideas. When we let go of the pressure to create something extraordinary, we create room for something extraordinary to emerge naturally. But here's the catch. Getting into the flow state isn't something you can control at will. It's not like flipping a switch. The more you try to force it, the more elusive it becomes. And that's the paradox of creativity. The more you push, the more resistance you create. It's only when you let go of the desire to control the process that you can truly step into that state of flow. It's when you stop holding on so tightly that everything falls into place naturally. In my own life, I've seen this time and again. The more I try to control an outcome, whether it's a project, a piece of writing, or even a conversation, the more strained the process becomes. But when I let go of the mental pressure, when I stop thinking about how to make it perfect, that's when the magic happens. It's as if the best ideas come not from my own efforts, but from my willingness to trust the process. I stop worrying about how it will turn out and just focus on being present with what I'm doing. And that's when the ideas flow, naturally, effortlessly. Creativity, in this sense, is not something we chase. It's something that emerges when we are in alignment with the present moment. We don't need to force it. We just need to trust that the right ideas will come when we are ready to receive them. The flow state isn't a place we can force ourselves into. It's a state of being. It comes when we stop trying to force outcomes, when we let go of the need to control everything, and simply trust that everything we need is already inside us. This idea is especially important for anyone working in a creative field. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an artist, a writer, or anyone who needs to tap into their creative potential, the best work comes when you relax, when you stop stressing over the outcome, and when you allow yourself to be fully immersed in the process. In that space, creativity flows effortlessly. You no longer feel the need to control every detail. Instead, you trust that the right ideas will come to you, that you don't have to force anything. Think about how many aha moments happen when you least expect them. It might happen while you're out for a walk, taking a shower, or lying in bed before sleep. Your mind isn't focused on trying to come up with the perfect solution. In these moments, your mind is free to wander, to relax, to be in a state of flow. And that's when the best ideas surface. Creativity doesn't come from trying to force it. It comes from allowing it to happen organically. Letting go of the expectation that you need to be creative on command is key. When you stop putting pressure on yourself to constantly generate ideas, you create space for your instincts to guide you. You begin to see that the best ideas come not from forced effort, but from moments of ease and trust. Creativity doesn't happen when you're trying to control it. It happens when you let go, when you stop worrying about the outcome, and when you simply allow the process to unfold. This shift in perspective also changes how we view failure. In the flow state, we stop worrying about making mistakes. We accept that mistakes are a natural part of the creative process. Failure is no longer something to be avoided, but something to learn from. This shift in mindset allows us to take risks, try new things, and push our creative boundaries without fear of failure holding us back. For me, Embracing the flow state has allowed me to step away from constant self-doubt and embrace trust in my own abilities. I no longer feel the need to control every aspect of my creative process. I allow myself to experiment, to make mistakes, and to simply see where the process takes me. This shift has freed me from the grip of perfectionism and has allowed me to create work that is more authentic and impactful. Ultimately, the flow state is where we can access our highest level of creativity. It's not something we can force. It's something that happens when we stop trying so hard to control everything. It happens when we trust ourselves, when we relax into the process, and when we embrace the natural rhythm of creativity. So, the next time you find yourself struggling to create, take a step back, let go of the pressure, trust the process, and allow your creativity to flow. When you do, you'll be amazed at how effortlessly the best ideas come to you. The paradox of letting go is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood concepts in life. It challenges everything we've been taught about effort, control, and success in a world that tells us to chase, hustle, and strive for more. Letting go seems counterintuitive, but what if I told you that most of the stress and frustration you face isn't because life is out to get you? What if it's because you're holding on too tightly? Think about it. When you grip something with all your might, what happens? It slips through your fingers. The more you chase something, whether it's a dream, a relationship, or success, the more elusive it becomes. It's as if the very act of pursuing it creates resistance, pushing it further away. This is the paradox. The more you try to control, the more control slips away from you. I've seen this play out countless times in my own life. There was a time when I was obsessed with a specific goal. I pushed, I strived, and I put every ounce of energy into forcing it to happen. But the more I chased it, the more it seemed to run in the opposite direction. I was so focused on the outcome that I lost sight of the process. And the very thing I wanted seemed to move further and further away. Then something shifted. I began to realize that the key wasn't in trying harder, but in letting go. I stopped obsessing over the result, stopped micromanaging every detail, and began to trust the process. I stopped chasing, and that's when everything started falling into place. The job I wanted, the relationships I craved, the growth I was looking for, all of it came to me naturally, without the pressure of forcing it. This is where the real magic happens. When you stop trying to control every detail, you create space for life to align with your true desires. The very act of letting go opens doors that you never even knew were there. You become more adaptable, more in tune with the natural rhythm of life, and more creative. You allow things to flow naturally, and that's when the unexpected opportunities arise. It's not that you're doing less, you're simply doing less of the wrong things. For example, think about relationships. We've all had moments where we've tried too hard to make something work. Whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, or a professional connection, we've all been there. The more you force it, the more you drive that person away, even if you don't mean to. The moment you let go of trying to control the relationship, When you stop seeking constant validation or approval, that's when it can begin to thrive. You give space for it to evolve naturally, without the pressure of expectations. It's in the freedom of letting go that true connection happens. This principle extends beyond relationships into every facet of life. When we're not constantly trying to chase something, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. We become more present in the moment, more able to take advantage of the opportunities right in front of us. When we stop thinking about what's next or what we're missing, we begin to see everything we've already been given. We become more creative, more spontaneous, and more in tune with the flow of life. I've personally found that when I let go of rigid expectations and the need to control every outcome, life becomes far more fulfilling. The energy I was once putting into striving becomes available for experiencing the present moment. I stop getting lost in my head, trying to figure out what's going to happen next, and instead, I just live. In doing so, things unfold in ways I could never have anticipated. Life feels more effortless, more aligned with my values, and more in harmony with the world around me. The real challenge, however, lies in learning how to let go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means surrendering to the flow of life without constantly fighting it. It's about trusting that things will work out, even when they don't go according to your plan. It's about releasing the need for certainty and embracing the unknown. This isn't easy for most of us, especially in a world that rewards control and certainty. But when you learn to let go, you begin to experience a freedom that's hard to put into words. When I started embracing this paradox in my own life, I began to notice a shift in how I approached challenges. I stopped forcing solutions and started allowing things to unfold. And when they did, the solutions often appeared effortlessly, without me even having to search for them. The irony is that the less I tried to control, the more control I had over my life. The less I focused on the outcome, the more the right opportunities flowed my way. Take work, for instance. We often feel like we need to put in 110% every single day in order to succeed. We stay late, we overcommit, and we exhaust ourselves trying to prove our worth. But when I let go of that constant pressure and stopped tying my self-worth to my work, I noticed a shift. I began to find more enjoyment in what I did. I became more productive, more focused, and more creative. And paradoxically, that's when I started to see the results I had been striving for. It's not that I stopped working hard. It's that I stopped working against myself. By letting go of the stress and pressure I had placed on myself, I opened myself up to new ideas, new perspectives, and new solutions. I started embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, not obstacles to be overcome. And when I stopped trying to control every detail, that's when I started to see real progress. The more I let go, the more I gained. The paradox of letting go is that the more you release control, the more you empower yourself, the more you surrender to life, the more life begins to align with your desires. It's not a matter of being passive or indifferent. It's about trusting the process, allowing yourself to experience the journey, and knowing that everything you need will come to you in time. So, the next time you find yourself stressing over something you can't control, take a step back, ask yourself, what would happen if I let go of the need to control this? What if, instead of trying harder, you simply trusted the process and allowed things to unfold naturally? You might be surprised by how much easier life becomes when you stop chasing and start allowing. When you let go, you open yourself up to the magic of life. The magic that happens when you stop trying to force things and just let them be. The secret to success lies in the art of letting go, but not in the way many people think. It doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. Instead, it means shifting your approach from constant effort to effortless flow. It's about taking action from a place of calm confidence rather than fear or desperation. It's about understanding that true success doesn't come from micromanaging every detail, but from trusting the process and letting things unfold naturally. In my own life, I've learned the hard way that the more I try to force something to happen, the further away it gets. The more I push, the more resistance I encounter. It's like trying to swim against the current. The harder I fight, the more I exhaust myself, and the less I accomplish. But when I finally let go, when I stopped obsessing over every little step, things began to align. I didn't have to work harder, I had to work smarter. I stopped chasing success and let it come to me. Think about it for a moment. How often have you seen someone who works tirelessly, burning themselves out, only to find that they're chasing the wrong thing? Maybe they're stuck in a job they hate, relentlessly climbing a career ladder that doesn't fulfill them, or pursuing a relationship that drains them instead of nourishing them. The harder they push, the more they exhaust themselves. And yet, when they stop forcing it, when they take a step back and trust the flow of life, the right opportunity, the right relationship, or the right success comes to them naturally. This happened to me too. There was a time when I thought success meant working every hour of the day, giving up on rest and relaxation, all in the name of achieving my goals. I believed that success was a product of hard work and sacrifice. But over time, I began to realize that this approach wasn't sustainable. I was pushing myself to the brink of burnout, and I wasn't seeing the results I wanted. I started to feel disconnected from my goals, and I questioned whether I was even on the right path. It was only when I stopped trying to force my success that things began to change. I learned that success wasn't about working harder, it was about working with purpose and intention. I began to focus on the process instead of obsessing over the end result. I let go of the need to control every outcome and started trusting that the right things would come to me when I was ready to receive them. And surprisingly, everything began to fall into place. The paradox is clear. The more you try to control your success, the more elusive it becomes. The tighter you grip onto your goals, the more they slip away. But when you stop forcing it, when you trust the process and release your attachment to the outcome, that's when true success appears. It's like a magnet pulling you in the right direction. When we let go, we create space for the universe to work with us, not against us. We stop fighting against the current and start flowing with it. And that's when things start to happen effortlessly. We become open to opportunities we may have otherwise overlooked. We become more adaptable, more creative, and more in tune with the natural rhythm of life. But letting go is not always easy. Our society encourages us to work hard, to strive, and to hustle. We're told that success comes only through relentless effort and constant action. And while there is truth in hard work, the key is in the balance. It's not about working non-stop without pause. It's about knowing when to stop and allowing things to unfold. It's about trusting that everything will happen at the right time, even if it's not on our timeline. In many ways, letting go is an act of courage. It takes courage to trust that you are on the right path, even when things don't look the way you expect them to. It takes courage to step back from the pressure of constantly achieving and to allow space for growth. It takes courage to let go of the need to be in control and to simply trust that what is meant for you will come when the time is right. I've seen this in the lives of people I admire. Individuals who embody the flow state, who are confident in who they are and trust that their efforts will pay off. They don't obsess over the details, and they don't chase success. They focus on doing their best and letting go of the need to control everything. And somehow, everything always works out for them. The right opportunities show up at the right time, and the right people enter their lives when they're ready. This shift in mindset is profound. When you stop trying to micromanage every outcome, you stop feeling like you're always chasing something. Instead, you begin to feel like life is happening with you, not against you. You start to feel that everything you need is already in motion and that you're simply part of the process. It's in this space of letting go that creativity flourishes, that innovation takes root, and that true fulfillment is found. When we stop forcing things, we stop draining ourselves, we stop working against our own well-being and start working in harmony with the natural flow of life. Here's the truth. Success is not a destination. It's not something you reach by forcing it. It's a journey, a process, and when you let go of the need to control every aspect of that journey, you allow yourself to experience it fully. You begin to embrace each step, each moment, each twist and turn, because you trust that the path is unfolding exactly as it should. So, take a step back, stop forcing, stop chasing, let go of the need to control every outcome. Trust the process, and when you do, you'll find that success doesn't have to be a struggle. It will come to you, naturally, effortlessly, when the time is right. And when it does, you'll realize that letting go was the secret all along. Success is not something you need to chase, it's something you need to allow. The real question is, how do you apply detachment to your life without completely disconnecting from reality? How do you strike that delicate balance between letting go and still taking action in the world around you? The answer lies in a simple shift in perspective, one that requires you to stop treating every situation like it's a matter of life or death. The truth is, most of the things that stress you out today won't even matter a year from now. We live in a world where everything feels urgent, but when you step back and reflect, you realize that most of your worries are fleeting. What's causing you stress today, whether it's work deadlines, a conflict with a friend, or an uncertain future, isn't going to have the same weight tomorrow, let alone a year from now. If you can begin to understand that, it becomes easier to breathe. It's just life, and life has a way of moving on, with or without your worry. Take a moment right now and think about what you were stressing over a year ago. Maybe you were facing a big decision, something that felt like it would change everything. Now, how important does that problem seem in retrospect? The truth is, you're likely in a completely different space now, and that stress from a year ago is no longer relevant. This is the power of perspective. Things that feel massive in the moment are often much smaller than we think. By adopting this mindset, you can begin to ease the grip that life has on you. Take a breath, loosen up, and remember, it's just life. Trust that the right things will find you. Yes, you have to take action, do your part, and show up, but there's no need to suffocate the outcome with desperation. Desperation doesn't help you get closer to your goals. It only pushes them further away. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if you just try harder, push more, work longer, you'll achieve your desires faster. But in reality, the more you force, the more you create resistance, the more you try to control the outcome, the more elusive it becomes. Letting go isn't about inaction, it's about action with trust. You do what you can, give your best effort, and then release the outcome to the universe. The right things will come to you at the right time. This shift requires a deep trust that the world is working with you, not against you. When you stop forcing and start flowing, you allow the universe to align things for you in ways that you never could have anticipated. The opportunities, people, and circumstances you need will appear when you are ready to receive them. One of the hardest parts of applying detachment is rewiring your response to uncertainty. In our culture, we are taught to fear uncertainty. We are conditioned to think that we must always know what's next, have a plan, and control every detail. But uncertainty is not something to fear. It's a blank canvas. It's a space full of infinite possibilities. The future isn't written. It's shaped by the energy you put into the present moment. When you embrace uncertainty, you open yourself to the unknown in a way that allows you to create your own path. Instead of worrying about what could go wrong, focus on what you can do right now to shape your future. I've seen this in my own life. There was a time when I feared the unknown so much that it paralyzed me. I couldn't move forward because I needed to have everything figured out. The idea of uncertainty terrified me, but as I started to let go and embrace uncertainty as an opportunity, things began to shift. I stopped needing to control everything, and I allowed myself to explore new possibilities without the pressure of needing to know the outcome. It was liberating. I realized that uncertainty wasn't something to avoid. It was something to embrace. When I accepted the unknown as part of the journey, I stopped overthinking every move I made and started trusting that everything would unfold as it should. Another key aspect of detachment is learning to stop convincing people. Whether it's in your relationships or your career, the moment you stop seeking approval, The right people and opportunities will align naturally. When you're desperate for someone's approval, whether it's a potential employer, a client, or even a friend, you start to lose sight of your true self. You begin to compromise on your values, your needs, and your goals, just to fit into someone else's expectations. But the moment you stop seeking validation, you start to attract the people who are meant to be in your life. The right people will see you for who you truly are and value you for what you bring to the table. In my own experience, I've found that the more I stopped trying to convince people of my worth, the more my relationships and opportunities improved. I stopped trying to prove myself, and instead, I focused on being authentic. I let go of the need for approval, and that's when the right opportunities came to me. The right people entered my life naturally, without me having to push for them. I realized that when you stop forcing things, the right connections show up effortlessly. Finally, one of the most important things you can do when applying detachment is to redirect your focus to what you can control: your actions, your energy, and your choices. This is where true power lies. When you focus on what you can control, you become unshakable. You stop getting caught up in things you can't change, and you start to take full ownership of your life. You focus on what's within your control, your response to challenges, the actions you take towards your goals, and the energy you bring to every situation. When you focus on your own actions and choices, you empower yourself to shape your life in a way that is aligned with your true values. In my life, this shift has been monumental. I spent so much time trying to control things outside of myself, other people's opinions, circumstances, the outcome of my work, that I lost sight of what I could actually change: my own mindset and behavior. When I stopped focusing on what I couldn't control, I found that I could control how I responded to challenges, how I showed up each day, and how I focused my energy. This gave me a sense of peace and power that I had never experienced before. Instead of feeling like life was happening to me, I started feeling like I was creating my own path. In applying detachment, you realize that you have everything you need inside of you to live a life that's aligned with your true desires. It's not about controlling every aspect of your life. It's about surrendering to the flow, trusting the process, and focusing on what you can control. When you do this, you unlock your true potential, and life becomes easier, more fulfilling, and far more in tune with your deepest desires. Let go of the need for control, and watch as the universe works with you, not against you. The power of letting go isn't just a lofty ideal. It's a life-changing practice that can completely transform your experience. When you stop chasing every fleeting goal, when you stop overthinking every little detail, that's when things start falling into place naturally. You free up space for life to surprise you. The opportunities that once felt elusive, the people who once overlooked you, will suddenly come into focus. You'll begin to realize that the more you relax, the more you attract. Let's pause and consider this. How many times have you found yourself obsessing over a situation, desperately trying to control every outcome, whether it's a job interview, a relationship, or even a creative project, the tighter you grip, the further away it often feels. But here's the paradox. The more you chase, the more you push away. But when you stop, when you trust, when you simply let go of the need to control, everything shifts. The magic happens when you release your grip and allow life to work its course. Things that once seemed out of reach will suddenly seem within your grasp. And you'll find that the universe has a way of delivering exactly what you need when you stop fighting it. So here's the challenge for you. Over the next week, try letting go of the small things. Take a step back from the constant need to control and micromanage. Stop worrying about every little detail. Focus instead on living in the moment, on trusting that what's meant for you will come. You don't need to force it. Notice how much lighter you feel as you release the weight of unnecessary stress. Pay attention to how opportunities begin to present themselves with ease. When you stop grasping for them, they'll find you. I can tell you from personal experience that letting go has been a revelation. I used to chase after everything. I thought that if I pushed harder, worked longer, and worried more, I could make things happen. But what I discovered over time was that the more I chased, the more drained I became. The moment I started trusting the process, letting go of the need for perfection, and allowing things to unfold naturally, that's when the true shift happened. Doors that seemed locked suddenly swung open. People who were once distant started taking notice. And the best part, it didn't require more effort on my part. It just required me to stop trying so hard. The paradox is real. Desperation repels, but confidence attracts. When you stop seeking validation from the outside world, when you stop trying to impress others, that's when the true power of detachment kicks in. It's when you start to embrace who you truly are, without the need to prove anything, that the world begins to meet you where you are. The energy you put out into the world shifts, and suddenly, things start aligning in ways you could never have expected. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about trusting. It's about trusting that the universe has your back, that the right opportunities will come when the time is right, and that your journey will unfold as it should. You don't have to control everything. In fact, the more you try to control, the less control you have. But when you trust the process, when you let go of your attachment to the outcome, you'll find that life works in your favor in ways you could never have planned. So, I challenge you to try this practice. Take a breath, step back, and let go of the things that you've been holding onto so tightly. Let go of the need to control every situation. See how much more freedom you have when you stop carrying the weight of your expectations. And if you find value in this shift, if it opens up new opportunities or gives you a sense of peace you didn't know was possible, make sure to like and subscribe for more insights on how to live with more ease, trust, and purpose. The power of letting go is not about surrendering to passivity. It's about opening yourself to the flow of life, to the magic that happens when you stop fighting against it. Letting go allows you to tap into your true potential, to connect with the world in a deeper, more authentic way, and to live with more ease and joy. So trust the process, release the need to control, and watch as everything falls into place.